Good afternoon, YouTube fans, friends, family. Just finished up my cigar. Nearly done. So I don't know how many of you are keeping up on everything, all things Marvel. There's a new thing that's running all over YouTube right now. Here's how it goes. Here's how it goes. So there's a rumor out there that they're going to divide Secret Wars into two movies. If you heard me. Do you think they'll do that? I'm not sure. Now, I could see that. I could see them go, you know what? We have so much material we could film. They're writing a script right now. It's been coming down to they haven't filmed yet. I like to think that they got a few things filmed. While they had everybody for Doomsday, they're like, wait a minute, let's put that in Secret Wars and different things like that, right? But yeah, they haven't gotten the brunt of it written, and they haven't done what they call principal photography yet. So in theory, yes, they could go. You know, we have so much. What do you think, Disney Studio? We give us a few extra dollars, and we just film like so much that we can go ahead and go. You know what? We'll do a cliffhanger ending here, and we'll drop a second Secret Wars Part 2, a year after the first one. But what about this movie and this movie? Well, sure, you just go and say, this happened before Doomsday. Or they could do all these movies and say, all this happened on Battleworld. To my friends who don't know what Battleworld is, at the end of Doomsday, Doom will take the remnants of all these different universes and put together onto one planet. And the comics call it Battleworld. And each country or continent has like nothing but that character, like a character. Like a whole country just full of different Hulks, right? Etc. Yeah, it's pretty, but that's the brunt of it. And some characters from Doomsday, or however the comic wants to call it, there's a couple of comics that kind of lead into Secret Wars. But they all pretty much end with some characters are able to build a raft, or basically like a spaceship, an interdimensional spaceship, that'll keep everybody safe during the destruction of the universes. They remember what the old universe is like. And they land on Battleworld like 8 years. I just read Secret Wars by Hickman, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. And that one is 8 years. Now they could change the date, kind of like how they did for Infinity War and Endgame, like maybe 5 years later. Maybe even 10 years later. The point is, everybody is used to Battleworld with Doctor Doom being God and Emperor of the whole planet, essentially. I saved it. I'm good. Maybe. Oh, geez. It's getting so tiny. I mean, this. For cigar smokers, know you pretty much end the cigar when it's down this. I'm still like, you know what? How much you spend on cigars, get the most out of it, right? Anywho. Where am I going? I don't remember where I was going. We'll have plenty of time between now and Doomsday and now in Secret Wars to talk more about Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars and the previous iteration of Secret Wars. And that comic came out in the 80s, 90s. This newer one, Hickman, it came out in like early 2000s. The directors grew up with the 80s, 90s one. But a lot of Marvel is everything Hickman. So if you really want to know what's going on, read up on the comics written by Jonathan Hickman. Anywho, and I was listening to YouTuber John Campea, his show. He also has a podcast if you want to listen to it on your way to work or whatever. He talks about, on his, I think it's daily, just about. He lives in California. He knows a lot of the industry. There's a few people on his show on a regular basis who know the industry as well. They've worked in the industry. And he was saying that they can't just surprise you, hey, we're going to do 2. Ta-da! And then some have leaked possibly that they will go, oh, hey, Doomsday did really well. We'll go ahead and make a Secret Wars Part 2. But he says that's not how that works. You can't just go, hey, can we get on our time slot or our date for another Secret Wars? No, by the time Doomsday comes out, they're already filming it. And I don't know about you, but to me, that makes a lot of sense. They can't just go, you know what? We'll do another one. Knowing how this industry works and all that, and how John Campea has explained, man who's in the weeds with the industry and how all this works. I trust him in that kind of stuff. I don't trust him on a lot of things. I think some of his opinions on movies aren't always the same as mine. His opinions on politics isn't the same as mine. But for the most part, when it comes deep down in the industry, I think he knows what he's talking about. And that makes a lot of sense. Now, that being said, you never know. If Doomsday turns into a $2 billion movie, which, for the sake of the MCU, the studio, Marvel Studios, even though it's under the banner of Disney, but for the sake of Marvel Studios, I want it to do well. I think they've done a great job in almost all their movies. There's a couple of movies where I felt like, you know what, they could have done a lot better. We all know what we're talking about. We think of Captain America 4, Brave New Worlds. We could have done more with that. The main villain leader could have been a little bit more comic book accurate looking. Quantumania, we're so the Ant-Man beat the new Thanos. And then, apparently he did, and so and it drove fans crazy, and it had so much CGI in it. It's it was insane. So that drove people nuts. Look, CGI is a big part of movies. I don't know why we're getting all crazy about CGI now, but apparently it drives Gen Z nuts if everything is CGI. You got CGI characters, you got CGI background, and it looks... Some movies, it looks really obvious it's CGI, and Quantumania was definitely up there for a movie that look fake. The background looks fake because, it's CGI. And technology for movies have come just absolutely... it's really advanced now. They got things like it's not even CGI. It's like a dome, and then it's push a button, and bam! It's the scenery that they're looking for, and the actors aren't just looking at green and trying to imagine it in their minds. What they've read in a script and what the directors tell you what it's supposed to look like as they look off into the distance. Some of the stuff now they can just click a button and go, oh, that's what we're supposed to see and look at. That's the sky. Or when it comes to the end of Doomsday, that's what the universes look like crashing into one another. So when certain characters like Avengers of Z, the Thunderbolts, and the core Avengers with Sam Wilson's Captain America and Shang-Chi, a few others, they look up into the sky and they see it looks like another Earth crashing into theirs. They can see it because they got this new half dome like thing that they're able to see, and because the director's able to click a button and they can see what they're looking at. It's not all up in their head. I mean, these are great actors. They should be able to imagine it, right? But when you're in it and you see it, it's so much easier to act it. For all of you who don't know, I mean, I was an actor for, a hot minute. Even technically, you could say I was a professional actor because I did get a stipend. So I was paid to do a show. It was a touring drama musical. And I got a stipend, a monthly stipend. So you could say I was a professional actor for, a second. Touring the nation for 9 months. Real great. It was fun. It was a blast. But again, it was theater, and there was times you have to look out into the audience in the spotlight, and you see nothing but that white light and a few heads floating around. And you got to imagine what you're looking at. So in some sense, I understand what they're talking about. And not to toot my own horn, but senior year of college, I did get Dramatist of the Year. I was one of two people, which is rare. They just couldn't decide. I did such a good job, and the other guy did such a good job. Anywho. The cigar is dead. It was a good cigar. It wasn't an easy draw, if you know what I'm talking about. It might be because my try to get my humidor to be exactly 75% humidity. Anywho. There we go. Focus. All right. So what do you guys think? Do you think they can do a part 1 and a part 2 of Secret Wars? No. Understand, there is plenty of story to tell. Plenty. And they can get into maybe a rabbit trail of things going on. Get way more into the characters, into the different continents of Hulk Land and Spidey Land. Even with characters we've all seen before. Because they've done so many movies and they got recast. And they can bring the old actors in and say, you're just a variant. We could have... God, how many Hulks? There is a Hulk who's really old. He's defeated all the Avengers. He talks reasonably well for a Hulk. They call him Maestro Hulk. And they could use the oldest actor, oldest iteration of Hulk. I will mess up his name a little bit. I think Lou Ferrigno. Woo. Anywho, the 1970s Hulk television show. I think it only had 2 or 3 seasons. And they didn't have CGI then, so they had one actor play Bruce Banner, and he's like, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And they had this whole transition thing. They put a couple of physical effects on his body as he changed, maybe some contacts, maybe eyes green. And the next thing you know, you have Hulk, who is then played by Lou. We'll just call him Lou. And even Lou had some prosthetics, torn pants, the wig, and then spray painted his body green. And he was like a Mr. Universe winner. Probably right around the time when Arnold Schwarzenegger was Hulk. But I think even then it was really early. So Arnold Schwarzenegger was still struggling with, getting famous, getting roles. I mean, he was barely speaking English at the time, I think. Not that they wouldn't use it. Not that they wouldn't use him if they could. But I think they were looking for a certain look too. Anywho, they could use him as Maestro. They still put him in like one of those mocap suits, they call it. They gave him a look rather than spray paint him green like in the old days. And then we got like Eric Banner, who played him in the early 2000s. I took my now wife there. I think we weren't married yet, so I think it was 2003, 2004. Yeah, 2004. Maybe the summer 2004. Anyway, I mean, at the time, I didn't hate it, but it was different for what it was. They had like squares going across the screen. And I'm like, imagine this is your theater screen, right? And then you just had this one square going across the screen. Everything else was black. So that was unique. But they did that because it made it look like more like comic booky, because in comic books, right, you're just looking at the square. Excuse me. What time is it? And I like that one because the whole thing of Hulk is the angrier he got, the bigger he got. And out of all the Hulks we got, that was the only one where he actually got bigger. Like, he was like huge, like crazy tall. Like, I'd almost say maybe 2 stories tall at his angriest. And the newer Hulks, they really don't get bigger per se. There's Edward Norton, his Hulk. That came out like not that long after first Iron Man movie. In fact, I think it's on Iron Man, the second ending has General Ross right after what happened. The Incredible Hulk movie, the only solo Hulk movie. And Tony Stark says, "What did I tell you about messing around with the super soldier serum?" And he's just puffing. General Ross is puffing on a cigar. Yeah, man, that cigar is done. Anywho, but because of creative differences, Edward Norton, he wanted to be more active in the writing, and they didn't like where Edward Norton wanted to go with it, etc. So yeah, without getting too much into that, Hulk / Bruce Banner ended up getting recast to what we have now, Mark Ruffalo, which is what I think the director originally wanted, but the studio wanted Edward Norton, so then it worked out for the studio and director to get Mark Ruffalo, that's who we have now. So what is that? There's like 4 Hulks. We could have 4 Hulks in Secret Wars, and that'll be exciting if they go there. Oh, She-Hulk. Not a lot of fans like that. I mean, it was personally, I thought it was good. Considering what we know of She-Hulk, she has the same kind of power as Deadpool in that they can, both her and Deadpool have the power of seeing the fourth wall. But she went so far as she went to the fifth wall, essentially, which is not just talk to the audience, but she was able to jump out of the screen essentially and talk to the writer's room, which I think that's the fifth wall. I don't know what the sixth wall would be. It would be like going into another show, another movie from her show. Bloop, then bloop, and then bloop. Anywho, for people who didn't like understand that, it kind of put a little bit of a bad taste in some people's mouths. And then of course there was the twerking thing that She-Hulk did. It was like, but for what the show was, I mean, other than those weird scenes, I didn't think it was too bad. Saw her hanging out with Daredevil, and I mean hanging out in like the biblical sense. That part was weird. But like the Daredevil we know from Netflix, so it was cool to kind of see that character with that actor jump from his show on Netflix to She-Hulk, and then from that to Spider-Man 3. I think it might have been Spider-Man 3 and then She-Hulk. And now he's got his new show through Disney, through Marvel Studios. And that show, his first season came out last March, April. Season 2 comes out at the end of this coming March. The trailer just came out, so look for that. I'll talk about more on that trailer next video or soon. Yeah, so we're getting a lot of Matt Murdock Daredevil here soon. And all of his side characters, they're all coming back. Anywho, I'm going on and on and on here. Now we're over 20 minutes. Anyway, I'm just going on about this because there's a lot of recasting and characters. Oh, don't forget, Ben Affleck, he used to be a Daredevil. We could have two Daredevils in Secret Wars. And that'll be fun. I know there's a lot of opinions on Ben Affleck's Daredevil, but it was fun for at the time. And I really liked how through sound he could see if it was raining out, he could basically see like a normal person, but still have like the skills of, Daredevil. And reflexes and everything like that. And that part was fun. We don't have so much of that in the new Daredevil, but he's still really cool. And I'd like to see more of that, very comic booky things with this current Daredevil. Oh my goodness, I'm going on and on. Anyway, to get this video back on track, there could be two Secret Wars, a Doomsday and then two Secret Wars. And there's definitely plenty to discuss and talk about, and a lot of things to do in Secret Wars that will keep the plot moving. A lot instead of just a ton of exposition, I call it. Finally, remember that word. Sometimes I go, what's that called? Exposition. Anywho, so yeah, but I do see what some people have, like John Campea and some other YouTubers are saying that like they would have to announce it, now at the latest. That they got to reserve a date for the movie theaters, all kinds of different red tape, if you want to call it, to get that in the works. And they need to have maybe some new contracts with the actors. Maybe not necessarily need new contracts because they're already filming it, and all they got to do is film more of it, right? and then say, oh, by the way, we're going to do 2 movies. Instead of having like an almost 4-hour movie in the theaters. Theaters don't want 4 hours worth of movies. They want to have, that one movie airing like 10, 12 times. Instead of, one movie airing half that. Because it's so long. 4 or 6 times. And there's other movies who want to have movie theater space, so they got to have some other movies in the theater. It's bad enough this coming December we're going to have Dune, Dune 3, Dune 3, come out at the same time as Doomsday. And from what I've heard, Dune has bought up all the IMAX. So if you wanted to see Doomsday, you're not going to be able to see it on IMAX theater because Dune 3 is going to be taking up all that space. Anywho. Or if you watch Fallout, okie dokie. So we also have, like I said, Daredevil coming out here in a couple months. Almost exactly. And then we have Wonder Man. That comes out tonight, actually. And if you look up who Wonder Man is in the comics, he's got a lot of powers. He's pretty incredible. So look forward to see what they do with his character. When he's not, fighting crime or whatever, or helping out the Avengers, he wants to be an actor. So it's going to be very meta. It's about a superhero actor who wants to play a superhero in the movies. And so it's going to have like some meta stuff about Marvel hiring actors to do these movies and different things. But it's going to be in the universe of Marvel, which knows there are people with superpowers. And he is a character who has superpowers. So it's going to be fun. It's going to have the actor / character who is an actor who played a villain in Iron Man 3. And then, let's see. Oh, and Shang-Chi. He was in Shang-Chi. Ben Kingsley. He's coming back. So that'll be fun. A little bit meta, too. All that comes out tonight. And all the episodes will be dropping all at one time. So if you just want to binge watch that'll be fun. Let's see. Also, there's that prequel show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, prequel to Game of Thrones. So I get to see how that one knight is doing what he does. And Fallout, man. I'm loving Fallout. Guys, you need to check out Fallout. Based off a video game of the same name. That one's the writer's doing a really good job of there. And there's like a whole different subplot, like before an end of the world scenario happened, and then after, which is like present day of the show. Oh yeah, they're doing a really good job with that, and the actors they're hitting out of the park. Anywho. Well, I need to go pick up my youngest daughter from the bus. Check the mail and things. Probably my longest video to date. But well, that's thanks to my rabbit trails here. Well, I will see you guys on the flip side. And we'll talk then. Later.